Tell us a bit more about Pamberi Trust, the structure that you are responsible for as a creative director. Tell us a bit more about its recent history, say like the last decade, 15 years, and then at some point Africalia came on board as a partner.
Yes. Book Cafe started in 1997. As I said, it arose out of the old bookshop, Grassroots Books. The bookshop was still part of the new Book Cafe, but now it was a performing arts centre. What you would probably call in Europe a culture house, an artistic house, a community centre. The structure really was the Book Cafe itself. Now, Book Cafe was a new kind of model in Zimbabwe, which combined different arts forms, all performing arts, mainly music, but also theatre, poetry, together with the world of books, and in a setting with food and beverage and a bar, and it was open all day long and into the evening. That's how Book Cafe started, and a few years later, Book Cafe, which was really a development-oriented commercial enterprise. If you see what I mean, it was a company with a development vision from the beginning, established 1981. Book Cafe realized it needed a development umbrella in which to express itself properly in terms of setting up development structure. And so Pamberi Trust was started in that context. It was started very small, very humble, no money, no funding whatsoever. That was in the 90s. But it had one or two people who would work more or less on voluntary basis. And so bit by bit the structures were put together. What we were in fact building, which evolved more than it was designed according to a blueprint as such, it really evolved out of the day-to-day thinking, was a hybrid between an overarching development structure and a revenue-generating enterprise, which was also an arts centre. Now, Pamberi Trust really, in order to understand it, it corresponds to what I would call the value chain in the culture sector. It starts in the area of concept and creative production. Where do ideas come from? Where does the synergy, the artistic possibility come from? This is something today we call the Arts Factory, which is where we link very strongly with Africalia, and we have done. But that's really the starting point, is providing the facilities where where ideas, creative possibilities are generated by artists coming together with the facilities to work those ideas into a producible or a form in which they can be performed on a stage, for example. And that's the second area now, is the area of staging and performance. And so that's done through Book Cafe itself. We have a structure we call the Harare Culture House. Now, Harare Culture House has about a dozen projects. The big ones are youth artists, and creating a stage, a platform for them, and gender, female artists, which is what we call Flame. But it's also cross-cutting, because we have discipline-specific projects, such as poetry. Very big poetry project in Zimbabwe, very exciting, quite historic actually. And then music projects, especially in the area of traditional music, that's Imbira in our part of Zimbabwe, jazz development. And more recently we've ventured into the area of film, small-scale film productions, film screenings, and so on and so forth. And so this component of the value chain we really look at as staging. And then the third part, the way we understand it is touring. So artists get that opportunity to move and to tour their product. We linked with so many festivals, actually all over Africa now. We have a very strong partner in Johannesburg, African Synergy, and via African Synergy we link now directly to about let's say, 22 African countries. And so we offer the possibility for artists to tour in different African countries. And so we understand this as a definite chain, a definite value chain within the arts. And the idea at Pamberi Trust is to build this value chain internally inside Pamberi Trust. And there are reasons for that. We think it's more cost effective, we think it's organizationally more efficient, and we think these days also according to economy of scale. That is, you know, when you're able to put this together within one system, the administrative requirements relative to that are a little bit more cost effective. So that's really about Pamberi Trust.